Red Bull gives you wings.
Well, to be starting things off, good news if you're a fan of XSET, if you're here cheering for Disguise, though. A little bit of a sadder tone is they're unable to be taking the first map here, Vansili. Their map choice, though, I have to say, overall, it was a lot closer than the scoreline suggests.
Definitely. I think if we're looking at, even round number 18 when we had a timeout and a scoreboard, every single play were pretty much virtually around the same scoreline in the fragging department when it comes down to head-to-head on either ends. Both of the teams were really just shooting in their favor, but it really came down to, in the end of the day, the defensive side, as Wyatt mentioned before, a heartbreaking pistol round that you lost to Katsumi to get the important kills on those classics on like, what, a 3-4 versus 1? And then losing the bonus, that's where it starts spiraling down for you, and unfortunately couldn't really find a solution out of that.
I will say, we weren't sure what kind of gameplay we would get from Disguise, whether we'd get maybe a little bit looser play or something that was a little bit more structured. It seemed like they had plans for maybe more set pieces. Like we saw it a lot in the first half. They had that setup where they were trying to do the Nano Swarm plus the Phoenix Molly plus the Astra Pole. They had everything there with the Gravity Well and all, but unfortunately, the timing wasn't quite right. Like they couldn't quite get it perfect. They needed to maybe tighten things down to torque spec. They weren't quite where they needed to be just yet, and they did figure it out. We saw around where it did work. It just took them a little bit longer to get to that point than maybe you would like to see, and that was the question we had. How easily are they going to adjust to maybe a faster-paced competitive environment where there's a little bit more pressure on them, given that they've had limited time to work with one another? And even though it's a loss, I still give them credit for finding the rounds that they did. That it was actually pretty solid in that first half.
Yeah, but the thing is that when you're looking at how XSET was playing on that defense, they were okay to play like the retake style. Yes, you're playing double initiator to try to find information, but you never really use, maybe once in a while you would use like the double initiator on one side with the jet to try to get information. And that's when, as you mentioned, Mark, that utility was really good and a nice trap play for DSG to punish that A side. But you already saw Soto's positioning on that cipher with an Odin towards the back of A. It's almost like a fracture style where you're setting up these trap kills, and it was perfect to go up against somebody that's going to do a run it back and try to get information as unstable, and that gets canceled right away. And when you're trying to play the pulse plan, what do you have to play against? All the utilities for the initiators on the retake when all of the players are still alive. That's what I said, like a winning condition that they had to do here for DSG was to break that util, but XSET not giving him a chance, or DSG not giving it a chance as well for XSET to really set up for these retakes also allowed for them to get a couple of these rounds in the end. But on the defense, or when they were playing the defensive side for DSG, it was really hard to do.
Yeah.
Little understatement there, yeah. But hey, if we're gonna be talking about the initiators over on XSET side, I want to dive a little bit more into that, and not onto the Sova play coming out from Bob, as wonderful was, but instead looking at this KO from Rise, because sure, maybe not top of the leaderboard, but that's not really everything that there is to this Vans.
That's it. I hate when we're scoreboard Stevens and just looking at kills in the end. It's just looking at how much utility is being used and how useful Rise was actually to flush out that defensive side of DSG, which is why, as I was mentioning before, it's very hard for DSG to do on defense. You're setting up these trap plays for curveballs, for flashes, double flashes to swing out. But what happens when you're playing a Phoenix, right? So if you're trying to do some good damage with the flash, you have to play close range. So if you're going to throw a knife at an unbreakable area, for example, in that long B spot, where both both the Sky and Phoenix were basically nullified from their utility, you're basically throwing out your utility right away. You're forced to swing out and hopefully catch some players off guard. But as soon as that element of surprise has been found, they just got punished instantly. And I think Rise was definitely one of those reasons why you saw so many players from XSET just able to put up numbers in the fragging department, just because everybody else from DSG was nullified from their utility.
I mean, it's a very sacrificial way to play KO. A lot of people play KO maybe a little bit more self-sufficiently, setting themselves up with their own flashes, But in this way, it's kind of like I'm going to play back more like a traditional initiator and kind of set my team up, almost playing it more like a breach. Like I'm going to set my team up for success. It's not about me, it's about you. And why wouldn't you? When the team is obviously hitting everything necessary, there's no need to step to the plate. You've already got your heavy hitters at the front lines. You're just there to do the backup. And it worked out really nicely. So you can point at the stats and be like, oh, I would love to see that player play better. I mean, maybe, but it doesn't really matter. Ultimately, they still had a really impressive game, and everything that they did was sticking to the game plan.
Yeah, and that game plan netting XSET the first win in our series, taking DSG's map pick off for them. And now they're heading over to Vine, which has been so strong for them. This definitely isn't a bad map for DSG. This actually, Bach, it starts going into another one of those interesting looks that we get to see coming out from DSG in a typical style.
I love whenever teams get really interesting. So their combination, and I have it written right here, Raise Yoru Sky Viper Brim. What? That is so strange. That's just like very curious. And you always ask yourself when teams run maybe a non-standard. Everyone uses the word off meta. I hate that terminology. Meta is a joke. Like, yeah, you know, you have meta for every different region in the world. You have meta for every different level of play. At that point, it's not meta anymore. It's literally just, this is what we do a lot. But I love the idea that teams are willing to get creative and do things that you don't always see. And, you know, it is certainly an interesting mix. Now, we won't get the Yoru here, which is a bit of a bummer. I was kind of hoping we would. But again, like, we see them mixing things up. They're going to go with a Harbor Brim. They're going to bring Sky back into the fold. They are going to keep Raze in there, which is obviously going to happen. The change-up is bringing in a Chamber instead, so they kind of like move some positions around. Unstable not playing the Yoru and playing the Raze instead. I do like that switch, because even though the Yoru might be fun to watch, I don't always love Yoru, and I feel like this map maybe has a couple of hang-up spots that makes his TPs a little bit tricky.
Yeah, one team that did it well, though, with that Yoru comp, with that disguise we're actually using, were Sentinels when they play against 100 Thieves, and it looked really good because it's also 10s on an Agent. But you're going back to something that maybe Loud brought up here with the Chamber in your composition. Not fully the same comp here, but I find that it's still going to be good enough for them to try to flood as much as they can around the scaling that Misu could offer. The only thing for me, though, looking at this, guys, it's going to be more difficult for them to run that clock down in their favor when they're not playing a Viper instead. So that's one thing that I have to look out for to see what's different for Misu as a Harbor instead of playing this Viper.
Yeah, I really want to look at their post-plant situations. That's where it's going to be key, because obviously you've got like tons of utility. You can easily set that up. They're in a pretty decent position if they can get that site control.
That's about it, if they can get that control. But now it's going to be Disguise going up against an XSET that's already proven their strength and now has Funny Bee on one of their top agents here. I'm excited to see how this one will go down. Nonetheless, with this comp we get to see coming out from Disguise. And it's time for Mimi and Wyatt to take it away.
Thanks very much, Sierra. Wyatt, this second map should be exciting because it is a really comfortable map for both of these teams. And it's interesting comps for both these teams as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, XSET, they've been good on this map. They destroyed Cole on it. And then they pick it into DSG, who last beat Supernova on it 13-1. So that was also with that comp that we were talking about previously, because it's so off meta with the Yoru double duelist look, and now they've totally switched it up, maybe trying to get ahead of XSET's potential counterplay from reviewing that VOD, bringing out something totally different with this Chamber double smokes look. This comp can definitely excel on TAC, though. When you get the sight and you have that double smoke to lock down the chokes, it can be extremely powerful.
Here we go. Map number 2. XSET picked it up to start. Now it's a question of, can DSG rally on their opponent's map pick? Early on, it's control towards long with that Harbor Cascade. And the dog coming up as well, Unstable, toying with the idea of teleporting, just clearing out back behind. But XSET will start to rotate players on over and initially stall out this execute.
DSG kept at bay. They're actually going to use the code to flash out a little bit this time. Unstable super flash up that nade could get massive damage, and they're trying to scale into the site. Lazy Lion carrying the momentum from that previous map. They were so good on Pearl. They're going to get the spike plant in now into the 4-on-3. Being a good teammate as well, buying that heal to bring Misu back up to 100 HP. Great double swing onto elbow. Katsumi's wall going to force these fights on the right side. Alone versus the world, going to go down. DSG claim their first pistol of the series. A great way to start off fine for them and bring the momentum back into their hands.
Love that execute for DSG. Using that Harbor Cove as the piece of utility to scale out, get you through that initial choke point, and then be able to swing out from any side of it and take your opponent off guard is really cool. And in that late round as well, finding those double swings, continuing to keep the teamwork up, even after taking the site. Really great stuff from DSG.
And now maybe we'll see them go back into a bit of that methodical play we had seen on their attack side in the previous map. Slow things down when you're against that eco. See if those players might go for too aggressive of a push. You don't want to rush things against the pistols.
Dog to clear B long again. I'd expect this to be a default for DSG in a lot of these rounds. I think the one thing of note thus far is that it has been 5-3 long in both of these rounds. We haven't really seen the chamber working towards showers or working towards solo hookah, as you often do with these comps. And again, it's really reminiscent of round 1 with some good stall util thrown out, and DSG again just biding their time in long.
Gonna get a bit of that util out now. Cut noise. Maybe try and pop out of the smoke or just fully wait it out. We'll have to see. They have drawn every single rotate from exit. The nade backside is going to deal significant damage. They are scaling out of that smoke and unstable with the spray down with that SMG. Going to claim a few easy kills. Bob dealing a bit of damage with that sheriff. Such low HP though. Surely not going to be able to win out this 1v2 clutch.
Shouldn't be possible. Bit of spam going through the wall, but DSG will group up. Both their players wrap back towards long together. And Bob has no easy way into this. Harbor walled off on both angles of entry that she would like to push through, and no guns available back here. She'll have to cross that divide before any weapon becomes available for pickup, and even then it's just her teammates' pistols on the floor. So nothing much to speak of. Another kill here. Another pip on her ult door would be great, but DSG is enclosing on this one. Misu already close, and Bob has no idea as to her opponent's location. So DSG, a reasonable start to this one, but good damage on that eco for XSET.
I didn't want to get ahead of myself and say it before it was over, but a great start for DSG nonetheless. Gonna bring at least a couple guns into this first buy round. We'll see how much they actually opt to force up around that Guardian. And it seems like they won't too much. They're just gonna be content with Stinger, Bulldog, Guardian, couple pistols, see if they can't maybe find an opening headshot and work off of that. Wait to invest the finances on this next round though.
DSG showing us a bit of a different look on this one. Set a 2-2-1. Probably going to see a lot of this with the chamber, where that agent, since the buffs, can hold a lot of the map. But it is actually a bit quicker into hookah this time. DSG might just want to make this pop on the site. Sky Seeker's earned early, and it'll be committed to try and make something of this bonus. Great flash, though, to support Rise. Everyone stalled except Unstable, who's taken down. But trade is pretty swift out of DSG. Hannah takes down the Viper anchoring on the site, so we're into a post plant, but the Flood retake is coming. Exit in fast for 3, Spike on the floor, and a cleanup on the retake, only losing 1 member.
A great swift flood there from XSET, not letting DSG get the spike down, not letting that Harbor utility keep them at bay, where it's so effective on that B site, closing off elbow, closing off main. And up until this point, we've just seen DSG go for these rapid takes of B map control, and it looks like they're set up for it again.
They're loving this default, and I mean, you gotta have something cooked up when you play a more unique comp. We've seen similar iterations where Paper X has played this with a Reyna instead of the chamber. We've seen a lot of teams picking up the chamber. I think Bind right now is the map with the most variation. So it's always good to see the Game Changers teams kind of putting their own spin on things as well, as this one might just be fast again. Unstable continuing to farm up this orb, and this might just be another execute. Double satchel in for Unstable. Flash not quite good enough onto Bob. Will not matter. Unstable cleans up 2 on the execution. Cat is still here, and no one knows about her just yet, but Katarina's up above, and well, the disinformation goes both ways. XSET finds themselves with only 2 players left. Make that 1 as a swing through the smoke, and it's all done. DSG 3-1.
Just an excellent high-speed hit from DSG. Great entering again from Unstable. Haven't said it enough times, it's worth saying again. Unstable and Katarina are just so good in these entry situations. They're playing them excellently. And what's funny about that round, though, is DSG did literally one small thing different that kept the rotates about 5 seconds late compared to the previous rounds. They just sent one cascade up on A, and it made the players on XSET apprehensive about rotating to B as fast as they did on the last.
Love to see those little adaptations early on. Unstable will have the Raise Rocket for this round, and DSG seem to be creatures of habit. Again, doing the same default back towards B long, and XSET haven't really had a solution to it yet. They're again bunkering down on this site, and again, here comes DSG. Unstable, Rocket in, Rise shuts them down. Hana will trade back out, but who else is here to shut this down? Already a flood into back site for XSET, but only 5 HP on Bob. She only has 1 bullet in the gun, still finds a headshot onto Misu. Dog up. Soto has a Rise. It's a 2 versus 2, but the spam through the wall is good, and Bob just has no shot with that HP. Lazy Lion, a 3K, and DSG are just running over this B site.
This is an obscene attack app so far. I mean, this is a one-site map that we're watching right now. Only B hits, but the scaling is just so good. They're trading for each other efficiently on all of these hits, showing no fear, trading the entries if their entries aren't getting kills, which they have on most of these. A wild start, but DSG know what they're doing. These site execs are clean.
They've been so nice. I'm loving the ideas we're seeing, too. They have a couple different variations of this execute. We've seen the split with the Raise coming from Hookah. We've seen these heavy long takes. It's a lot of great ideas from DSG, and to find an idea of their own, XSET will be taking a tactical timeout here. Compared to map 1, where they won both pistols, both bonuses, this is a bit of an unfamiliar start for XSET.
Yeah, Danimal gonna get in the mix, voice an opinion on how to start bringing this defensive side around. This is the first time in the series that we've seen XSET actually at a round disadvantage. DSG just coming out swinging on Bind, full force, showing not an ounce of fear or respect despite that map 1 loss.
They have not shown one bit of it. Here is the question now. What will XSET change up? It seems like they're playing heavy towards B long. 3 players there, possibly that ultimate available for Katarina, but full rifles to deal with it. As it's this time, the first change for DSG. They're just going towards that.
I'm gonna lose my mind. Maybe they're like, surely they're just gonna stack B after this timeout, right? Let's just go A. And the site is 100% free for the taking, and now they're in a 5-on-5 post plant against
the nade.
Weak weapons. They're actually gonna commit the Seekers to this. They get instantly broken, and that nade from Unstable keeps any scalers at bay. This should be a fairly easy post plant to win for DSG.
Bunny B, hero rifle in this one will just basically be single-handedly trying to retake towards U-Haul, and nothing's happening for it. 2 players drop, only the sheriffs left to stand, and maybe a little bit silly for Unstable to lose the weapon air, but it's still a 4 versus 1. Bob has no shot at that one. You already hear the spike ticking down, and Katarina grabbing the final kill. 5-2-1. This lead just keeps on going.
DSG are emanating confidence across the board. This is such a silly yet excellent beginning to the first half. Silly in the nature of how they're hitting these sites, but excellent in the execution. It is a wild first half.
I mean, I don't know if silly is the right word so much as it's just whimsy. It is
whimsy.
They have an interesting, fun comp, and they're executing on it very well.
I've got them.
And once again, fast hit coming into A, off the Seekers, Unstable satcheling in past the nade, dealing with this player back triple. They have all the info from the Seekers. Bunny B is going to be in serious trouble. They are dumping as much util as they can. Swinging back sight, Unstable gets 3. You have to be joking. The entry for this team is outrageous.
Disguise is looking paper-esque. They're throwing the same wall, doing the same pathing with the Raise, and somehow Unstable is performing just like Jing. I mean, they've been ridiculous thus far on these entries, seemingly getting the first kill in every single round. And then this one, it's just the first 3 kills. All good. The rest of my team will scale in behind. No worries whatsoever. XSET have been locked out of this first half, and I don't think this round's going to be any different. Bob's going to try and deal some damage, but it's already a safe call.
you've just got to save at this point if you're XSET. The economy is absolutely shattered again. And DSG, they can buy for the rest of this half, damn near. So Bob and Rise better be clutching on to these Vandals as best they can.
Stable hungry for another kill here, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Never mind. Bob has jiggled out a little too far. That is actually a tragedy to lose that weapon for XSET. One of the two they would have saved through, and they do have the full loss bonus, but that still stings. Everyone else on a sheriff, Bob included.
They have avowed to a fearless approach of the attack side here at DSG, and they've been playing excellently with this ults, one of the minutiae of their gameplay that I've loved so far in these two maps. And here they're going to have, that Brimstone ult, the Harbor ult, excellent for taking the site and the post plant. They're going back to all reliable, this long take.
They've done it pretty much every round, and it has not been stopped once. Unstoppable force. Where's the immovable object? It's definitely not the Viper's Pit, because that's set up over towards Hookah. Nothing to slow down this execution long. But XSET fast on these rotations. Rocket in, and she'll be separated off from the rest of the team. Unstable, 1-for-1 as Bob trades through. That Reckoning committed too. And that'll slow this down for a second. 3 players from XSET still anchoring, but here comes the teleport. Fast through goes DSG, and the A site is theirs for free.
The res could be crucial, but you can just see how DSG has conditioned XSET in a situation like this. Every single player from XSET immediately rotated off to B, so they get the freest teleport you'll ever see in your life. Able to walk into the site and plant with no contention on it.
4 versus 5. The weaponry favorable for DSG, and the timer ticking in their favor as well. There's one flank slowly working its way around, but it's Lazy Lion to break the first contact, and it's all coming up red. DSG holding strong in backside. Bob, though, trying to make a case for this one. Rise as well will find a kill. A 1 versus 1. Katarina, the chamber close towards the bench. Bob swings around the corner, but Katarina is ready for it. 7-1, DSG unstoppable on bind.
Their attack halves have just looked ineffable on both maps. So good. And again, even though they didn't end up hitting the B site, Unstable, it just feels like there's a first kill coming from their hands every
I mean, they literally
round.
entered the site alone with no helpers. Just an ult committed. Still get an entry.
It is just obscene. This time we gathering up for this fast day hit or what?
Seems like it. XSET have the right read on this round. 3 players ready for the short aggression. Slow nade, but replied with the Brimstone ultimate to deal quite a lot of damage on Asoto. Only scraping by with 10 HP, but look at XSET sticking around, re-walking, contacting close in short, just walling this one off to look elsewhere as they hear at least 2 players spamming away there.
And it's Bob on this flank, taking advantage of the fact that DSG are always grouped up together on one side of the map or the other. It looks like Katarina is watching for this pick. If she gets it, we'll see if maybe DSG opt to hit the gas on running back to the B side.
She hears that.
Placement. Yeah, it's going to give it away, but here comes a hit. Unstable satcheling in yet again on this entry. Nade for backside, flash for backside. Going to try to swing off of it, but finally, XSET, they have the crossfires. They're able to deal. I mean, I was nervous there for a second that everything I was about to say was getting thrown out the window, but finally able to deal with the attack from DSG.
Good work out of them. I love the proactivity from DSG in that round. I think that's the biggest difference. After shutting down the initial hit, they reposition, get aggressive in short with the Sage Wall, and then late round, fall off, find crossfires on this site. They really are actually able to expel some of this util for DSG before that final execute is coming in. Love that round for XSET, but it's now a question of consistency and building momentum.
For the first time, looks like DSG might just work the map a little bit. They're going to take some fast shower control, play for these orbs as they typically do. They love fighting over those. And try and clear all the way out into A with the dog. In the meantime, Katarina was just watching for any kind of B aggression that may come in. None of it really did. And now DSG just sort of biding their time towards A, regrouping, reassessing this mid-round.
Full pivot back for them. I really like how many looks DSG has been able to give us. These faster rounds, the one where they're controlling towards long, then late re-hitting. Ones like this one where they can take it a little bit easier. take the time to break down this wall, so presence is very much shown. And look at those rotations. Everyone from XSET on their way, but Bunnybee's already down. Seekers will reveal that there's a heavy setup towards the B site. But do they know? Seekers only won a moment before they got broken, but it's the right call. DSG again making a pivot. Katarina, the decisions have been excellent thus far from this IGL. She'll grab a kill on the other side while her team claims the site. Spike will go down, and it's 3v5 for XSET to retake. But it looks like they might just want to go fast already. Soto letting in close. That harbor wall should fall in just a few more seconds. But will an opportunity arise behind it? DSG, a good setup in this post plant. And the timer working in their favor. Soto, can they spot anything out? A new player for XSET, looking to close this round. Teammate on the defuse. It's Rise sticking things to half already, but it's Katarina swinging close on short. They know it's halved, but there's no way XSET could do this unless Rise makes a miracle of it, and it's not happening. Another for DSG.
And another based off the conditioning of how they're playing. 2 rounds have taken full advantage of the teleport from B to A and have gotten a free plant.
It's been excellent from them. DSG, I mean, 8-2. What a turnaround after losing map 1 in such tragic fashion.
You're absolutely correct. I mean, this could be the turnaround, not just for them here, but, you know, fighting to really turn around the year for the DSG org and Valorant. This team has made it deep so far. They've made it to the top 8, contending with one of the best teams in the scene, with undoubtedly some of the most storied and historical best players in the scene.
XSET, though, despite winning that last round, money's not looking perfect. A Bulldog, a Stinger, and already a player lost. Unstable, continuing the momentum on these entries, but Soto goes unaccounted for. That error on the end gets rounded off, though, as Lazy Lion finds the trade, and Unstable is ready for Rise swinging forward on the retake to begin. Only 2 left alive for XSET. Another round that is not looking good for this squad. Katarina, eyes on the raise, and timer continues to go down as Katarina continues to find shots clean with the tour de force. Bob now in a 1v4 that's just not happening.
XSET just have no answer for these rapid hits.
Last round
they cannot find a solution, and it feels like even if they could come up with a tactical solution at this point, the gunplay is just so in the favor of DSG. Unstable is going absolutely crazy on these entries. The talent on this roster just looks outrageous, and again, it's what they've been able to pull off in such a short time. What Katarina has been able to do with this team in a short time, so impressive.
I'd love to know how many first kills Unstable has, because it's just been ridiculous thus far. Yeah, building up a team, building out your strat book, all that's impressive, but also the talent on this roster is crazy. I didn't know who Unstable was before watching DSG. I wasn't familiar with Lazy Lion either, but all of these players have come out playing against some of the best in Game Changers and are continuing to impress.
Perhaps this Viper's Pit will be the thing to slow down DSG.
Every time.
It just certainly won't be. Unstable with their millionth first kill of this half.
I mean, a Roomba into a rocket. The poor Viper, for the first time ever, disadvantaged in their pit, rises down. And for the last round of the half, it's a 4 versus 5 retake for XSET. And look at DSG. This setup is strong. In U-Haul, it's Unstable, fighting forward to claim another onto Bunny B. Katsumi will be able to trade that one back, but it's a 4 versus 3. And that is an issue for XSET. 9-3 could make this doable with the flash forward into U-Haul. The re-clear is excellent, and Katarina cleans it up in the end. 10-2 for DSG.
Switching
We look
sides.
destined to take this series to the final map on Split. We saw DSG with an impressive, attack half on Pearl, but it doesn't come close to what we just witnessed right here. Now it's about closing it out, putting the nail in the coffin on defense. The side they struggled on Pearl. So listen, I'm not totally counting XSET out of it yet, though this comeback would be remarkable.
A pistol round, though, would pretty much seal the fate for XSET. So very much a must-win for them in this round. DSG set up heavy towards that B side with the Raised Brimstone taking space towards A. Suggests this one might just come down to a retake with that shower space held.
Looks like DSG gonna fight for those early extremities, peeking down long on B, fighting for shower on A. If they maintain this shower control on A for what looks to inevitably be a retake situation, that could be the catalyst to a victory.
Bunny B double satcheling in, so A site taken. Swift for the side of XSET. Unstable has been spotted working through showers to try and flank this one, and Katarina through the teleport will join. That Sage Wall remains up, so that's one barrier that has to be broken down for DSG, and removing the players entrenched towards U-Haul, the second one. What's this first priority? Unstable, still plenty of utility to work with, but it's a shorty on the other side. Raze v Raze coming up here in U-Haul, but Bunny B's isolated and taken down. Excellent work from Lazy Lion. The Ghost wins versus the shorty in close range, and it's awkward in showers as Hannah manages to dance away around the corner. Molly's will continue to buy time on the spike as Soto in the close corner needs to be taken care of. Unstable finds it. Lazy Lion now getting on, trying to pull this one half, but that time has already ticked far too long. DSG unable to make the retake happen. XSET, a critical pistol.
An excellent job at just delaying from XSET, playing off the utility they have. They have a number of Molotovs, explosives with this composition. Of course, the Viper, and just we've seen time and time again how effective the Brim Molly is at delay when you're in that post-plant situation, and it bears fruits for the millionth time in competitive Valorant.
Full eco here for DSG, the first time they've really been at a disadvantage in this second map, and XSET taking towards short. Dog following up with the shotgun will push the chamber of Katarina away. A slower approach from XSET till Bunny B hits the go, but love the satchel padding to wrap all the way back around, but not quite aware of the player on the backside, caught off guard, and now suddenly this has gotten very dangerous for XSET. They're already being flanked, and they're 2 down after winning pistol.
We'll see how aggressive Lazy Lion gets on that flank. If they do opt to just contain, though, that could be enough. Bob fighting for that shower control and just owning that area of the map could be crucial to actually dragging this back to a round win after what was a disconnected hit. Lazy Lion has just been outlandish with the Sheriff in this series so far. By no means her first kill with that weapon. Bob, of course, one of the all-stars of the scene, just trying to creep in onto bench, bring this round back somehow. Makes a bit of a noise dropping. Not sure if that's actually caught on the audio given the distance of the players. These swings are great. So much pressure at triple alone. Rise trying to come in, but with 30 seconds left, with DSG players everywhere, surely this isn't doable.
That ping pong is brutal. Every player ready to face against Bob, and she's about to walk into a judge. This one is all but done. Only Rise left alive, and the tragedy will become true. Hannah, the final blow to claim a thrifty for DSG.
Everything is just going right for DSG, baby. Every single thing. When they're winning the second round eco, I think it's time to pack their bags and head on over to Split.
Yeah, ridiculous stuff out of this team. I really like the way they play on this eco. Playing together, finding different angles to alternate who's taking initial contact, and honestly just punishing some of the mistakes from XSET on that execute.
Possibly a final opportunity for XSET. Well, final opportunity at least to not have to drag it all the way back to OT. And you can see DSG again, they're just fighting for both extremities right now. Bunny B gonna double satchel and shotgun into that close range area of lamps, hoping that someone on DSG may attempt to go for the re-clear. Just trying to distract as well, keep these players here, not wanting them to rotate to B where the real sight hit's gonna happen.
Isu here holding down the fort with the judge inside of the tube. Support from Elbow. That Sky ready to flash out if this execute comes, but XSET don't commit to it. Bunny B was still chilling out towards U-Haul, and that space is now being re-cleared. The Bucky goes down, so that now forces this execute on the B site instead. Flash through, Lazy Lion. Oh my god, that is so swift on the adjustment out of them. Incredible shots from DSG, leave it down to just Rise. A 1 versus 3. And wow, what a moment for DSG. Why? This team has only existed for a month, and they are up 12-3 versus the team who was top 3, who has 2 of the champions of pretty much every single Game Changers event they've played in. It's incredible.
And on the opposite side, you have a player like Lazy Lion, their first opportunity on a real signed roster, making spray transfers like that happen, making shots with the Sheriff that you rarely see in, consecutive headshot after headshot fashion. It is unbelievable. This team just really does have talent of, known talent, and then also this combination of the unknown, the upcoming talent that's really coming together in amalgam to create this excellent team we're watching.
Stun off of that slow, but it does not matter. Unstable still hits the shot towards Showers, and the Sheriffs will be able to find one back, but it's already an advantage, 4 versus 3 for DSG to try and close out.
They just have to take things nice and slow here. They know they can play a retake. Lazy Lion with those Seekers as well. They're actually just going to pop them now, try and get that mid-round information. XSET holding on to what little hope, a thread of hope that they've got left in this map.
Seekers will reveal everyone towards short. There's a minute still to play with, but no information and very little utility for XSET. Really just what that Sky's got on belt, 2 flashes of dog. And that Sage Wall to make an execute out of. Look at this setup. DSG, both sides of the A site, have players doubled up in this crossfire. Ready to swing to trade. Misu activating the Thunderdome in close and ready to go on that one. Katsumi, the last one standing. And there's just nothing to do here. 13-3. DSG, after losing map number 1, down to 4-1 versus 1s on Pearl, rally back on their opponent's map choice and win dominantly against the team who is top 3 in Game Changers 1.
They come in unencumbered by, any amount of fear. They just played so confident from the very first round throughout. You rarely see XSET get blown out in fashion like that unless they're going up against Shopify or version 1. You certainly don't expect this kind of result from a new roster, but DSG looking absolutely flawless on that map. Winning, both teams now have won the map pick of the opposing side. Also, DSG coming out with a totally new comp, by the way, just to nullify any prep that XSET may have done. If that had been a reason as to why they took us to this map. So really well played to them. Both teams showing off a dominant map. Heading into split for the final one. I have no idea at this point where this is going to go, maybe.
DSG on a hot streak. We'll have to see if they can close things out or if XSET will be able to rally. You'll want to stick around. It's map 3 of split coming up after the break.